Okay.
Real raw, relevant, that's just it. Yeah. I've been about it ever since I was legit. Represent, that's legit. Ask your mom about it. Coldest story ever told. When the storm had hit my home, I was out there on the road, I ain't had nowhere to go. They used to turn their nose, and man, they done, I suppose this the life I chose. Every day, man, it's a show.
Hello, everyone. We're back here, Authentic Ears. Tonight is a good night for us. It should be a good night for everybody. We're close to the holidays. I hope everybody got their Christmas shopping done. I didn't have to buy anything this year for my kids because they're big, and my son decided he want to go spend the holidays. Hello, Miss Lisa Delight. Hi, Terry. With his grandparents, and my daughter is working. So I ain't got to buy nothing. But how y'all doing? Sterling, what's up? What are you up to? How your Christmas going? You done Christmas shopping for the kids? What's going on?
Yeah, I already set my stuff off for my boys. Everything going good. I'm just indulging into this transition out the military. That's it. Less than 90 days, and get that DD-214. So I can't complain.
Look, you gonna feel when I got mine. I ain't even almost cried. Some people was like, I almost cried. I was sad, and I was like, no, great accomplishment for me.
Yeah.
So I was like excited to go to another chapter in my life. I don't know how were you, Cam, when you actually got your DD-214? Even though we know it's been, I ain't gonna say many moons ago, but it's been some time since you've been out.
Yeah, in February it'll be 8 years that I've been retired, and it was just, like I say, just like y'all, I joined at 18. It was until I was 39 years old, so it was bittersweet, and usually I'm not a really emotional person, but it was a time once I got those orders and stuff really set in that it really hit me hard, and I had a time that I was kind of temporarily in my feelings for a little bit, but but I got over it real quick. You know what I'm saying?
So do y'all think, because Jasmine's not on here yet, she should be popping in shortly, but for the military side and just being serving that long, do y'all think, did you feel kind of like sad, depressed, like ecstatic, or was your emotions like a roller coaster? I think mine was, I don't know, probably because I prepared my mind and I was like so ready to get out. However, I think being out, like, for example, I went to the doctor today. I had a doctor's appointment, with the civilian people. And I had another appointment with my financial advisor like 2 hours after my doctor's appointment. But this is my first appointment. So I made it 2 hours because, in the military, we go and you 20 minutes, you out of there. Like, they don't even talk to you about nothing. You just gone. So I think for me, I had to get adjusted to how they do it in the civilian sector, because she was asking me everything. I was like, I ain't never had nobody take care of me like this. And I was almost late to my other appointment. So what about y'all, dude? Well, Sterling, you're still kind of straddling the fence. Cam, did you see a hard adjustment, when you go into the civilian sectors for doctor's appointments or anything like that?
Well, I'm going to tell you like this. I had a different experience because I think it's, believe it or not, it's service specific, because I've had times where I was on Air Force bases and the treatment was totally different. You know how the Army, they do us. They trying to get you in and out. Where the Air Force, they were, for the experience I had, especially when I was on station on Osan and I used their clinic and stuff back there.
Yeah.
It was a different experience, but I do understand what you're saying in reference to the military and the civilian, how they're a little bit more detailed. They're not so much about, I ain't gonna say they aren't about numbers, but they're
about numbers.
attentive. They're more attentive to you instead of just like trying to get you out because they got a whole bunch of sick calls lined up. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. What about you, Sterling? What you thinking?
I agree with you. When I was in Hawaii, my youngest son went to a Navy base for his care, his primary care, and I would say that the Navy base do a lot more detail. It's more detail when it comes to providing that care for yourself, your kids, whatever. But on the Army bases, it's just like a check the block thing with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Yeah. That, and I was just, well, when I was in Georgia, I went to a civilian doc, and it was like totally different then, when I went there, because I could go in from a knee. If it's still hurting in 2 weeks, they ain't gonna give me no more ibuprofen. They finna gonna let me go and get an X-ray. And then if the X-ray don't show nothing, then they gonna go ahead on and schedule you for an MRI. So all of that to me played a big part. But now that I'm actually out, and I don't have those stipulations of having to go to this particular clinic on post, I've seen, just a big difference. And I guess that's going to kind of tie into what we're talking about today. It's hard, the 3Ds. You know what I'm saying? We get depressed, we get desperate, we're determined. 4Ds, because I changed it, but y'all know what I mean. Y'all can read. Y'all got it together. But I just, I don't know about the care that we actually get. And this topic is very sensitive. First, let me put a disclaimer out. None of us have PhDs in psychiatry, counseling, therapy, or anything like that. This is just kind of be based off our experiences and the experiences that we had, because we all were leaders in the service. So therefore we had soldiers that had mental health issues. And then, believe it or not, us service members that are supposed to be in charge, we have issues as well. And when you're on a platform like that and you have soldiers, we don't take care of ourselves. So this topic is kind of based off, if y'all didn't check out my boy Sterling live, it kind of triggered a lot of things that are going on in the community. And Sterling, I'm gonna put you on a spot here.
Cool.
Kick it off. Start us off.
So I think it was early last week. I had posted something about the DJ Twix that's on Ellen DeGeneres show, and everybody know he committed suicide. I think what made me do that live or that reel on Instagram was it was very shocking, because I follow him. I follow him on a daily basis.
Oh, okay.
I follow his lifestyle. I follow that he's a very family oriented man. He has 2 kids, a wife. And I guess with my situation, with me having those feelings of committing suicide back in 2018, I had my youngest son at home with me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah,
seeing that is like, man, like, you never know what people are going through. They smile every day. They're wives, their husbands, their kids. And at one moment, it just triggered, like, they can't do it no more. I feel like, like I said, not just in the Black community, but overall, as just men, we have to be able to find an outlet, be able to find a way to talk about our issues. And it's still, probably from your earlier days for myself, growing up in the inner city of Philadelphia. And I tell everybody, when you show emotion, you consider to be a punk. You know what I'm saying? You consider frowned upon, because you're supposed to be tough. You're supposed to be tough as a boy. And then even in relationships, when it comes to relationships, a lot of times we don't want to talk about or have our spouse or significant other see that we failing, because we feel like we should be failing. We cannot be that provider in that relationship. So a lot of us hold things in, we try not to talk about it, but it's a struggle. It's a struggle when you got to keep everything inside, because you fear of people judging you. You know what I'm saying? You fear that people are going to see you as a weak man, or see you as not being able to uphold yourself overall as a man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would say, if somebody's out there having those thoughts and having those issues, talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And also, sometimes when you reach out to people, you don't always have to respond back. You just sit there. Just sit there and listen. Just say, hey, I'm here to listen. Just vent. Because a lot of times people try to interject in the middle of you venting, and that can trigger. And be like, oh, well, you don't want to hear shit what I got to say. you know,
Yeah.
let me go ahead and kill myself. But I will say it is real. And just to dig a little bit into my story, uh, my youngest son Elijah, he had lived with me for a little bit because his mom went to warrant officer school. She went to warrant officer school. She was out for about 10 months almost. I had my youngest son at Bragg, brand new platoon sergeant. I had about 50
Yeah.
soldiers, had a PL that just beat up his wife. So I was doing both things, PL and platoon sergeant. And I'm sitting in the other bedroom on a bed, gun loaded and everything, you know, and my son in the other bed, in the other bedroom. So
Yeah.
the only reason why I'm still here because if I would have done that, what would have happened to my son? Like, how would he made a phone call? How would somebody have known to come to that house? How would somebody have known? Well, my son could have died by just sitting in that house a couple days without, you know, knowing anything. So it is real. The shit
Yeah.
is real, and when you at that point, you never know. So I'm grateful to still be here after that situation, and I don't go back down that road or go back in that mindset, but I always look back and say that could have been me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That guy DJ Twix, you know, he posted a video the day before.
Yeah.
And his wife dancing, and that dude put his phone on airplane mode, checking the all type stuff. And next thing you know, he gone. So I tell anybody, if you're having issues, don't be afraid to reach out. And I'm not just saying it's a male thing. Females out there also struggling with, you know,
Yeah.
these issues. But I do feel like, you know, in the Black community, we are losing a lot of good men and good women. And for one, we are losing a lot of Black men in the homes. So we're just taking ourselves out even more.
Yeah.
Men suicide. And I think that mental health piece is the reason why a lot of these young kids nowadays are killing others because they don't have no outlet. They so angry,
Yeah.
and they trying to find somebody to give them reassurance
Yeah.
about themselves. So yeah, it's I'm surprised I'm talking about it, honestly, because I never talked about it publicly like this.
Yeah.
But I
And
felt
we really appreciate you, you know, because this is a platform, and I didn't even know that, y'all. Like, it's like I thought he was gonna talk more about, you know, the live that he did, and also veterans continue to actually look down at the screen. We have a rolling, I don't know what you call it, but it's going across for the crisis line, and also the 988 suicide is a national number that you can actually text. You know, if you're going through stuff, if you actually are watching this and you don't have that person that you can talk to, you're not in counseling, you're not in therapy. Sometimes it's good, like Sterling said, to have that outlet for someone who can actually listen and be that ear, because like Sterling was saying, you know, what would have happened, you know what I'm saying, to his son. Hey, Jazz is on the line. Jazz, we're talking about it. Depression, mental health. I know you probably was watching while you was logging in the community. And it's a challenge. And Sterling, I will say, being a woman and actually seeing you just actually be vulnerable to, I don't even know how many people are viewing right now, or how many people are going to view it tomorrow or in the future, because this is a platform where we don't know if 2 people are going to view it today, 20 or 200, and just being able to be a male and actually open up about the struggles that you have had and the impact that it has had on your life and the stressors when you are in leadership positions. Some of y'all who are not military, y'all probably heard him say, hey, I'm a platoon sergeant. Equate that to being a supervisor over a lot of people. However, in the military, you're responsible for all of those soldiers up under you. You're responsible for their mental health. You're responsible if they commit suicide. They bring you on the carpet and they want to know, why did this soldier commit suicide? And all you can say is, I don't know. They were fine yesterday. Hey, Cam, you want to add in on this?
Yeah. I'm going to talk about a situation, and everybody who's in here is probably going to be completely shocked because this has never came out of my mouth. And I commend a guy named Truman McCollum, who is my best friend. Me and him grew up together, and he has never said nothing about it. So I appreciate it. So Sterling, this is kind of, I want to let you know, Sterling, that you're not the only one. About 3 years after I retired out the military, I was just like lost because mine was different, Sterling. I had had two surgeries while I was in the Army on my wrist. And then I had I had two procedures on my neck, a surgery on my wrist, and then ankle surgery while I was on active duty. Then when I got out, I had another reconstructive ankle surgery. I had a facial reconstruction surgery. And then I not too long ago had a shoulder surgery. But to backtrack off that, I got out the military and I wound up med board and I had a little over 20 years. And they had told me that they recommended that I file for Social Security because my migraines and stuff so bad. So I was getting, retirement VA and Social Security. But you take a guy from 18 years old to 39, I had been a soldier. I was a warrant officer. I had worked at division level and stuff like that. And now I feel like I had no purpose. And also, I felt like I was sad about like my son because that I felt like that I was just existing. I didn't get to, he didn't really want to come down here and be with me as much and things of that nature. And I just felt like I was like, why am I here? So everybody that knows me know I got my gun safe is like an arms room. Like I have so many guns. And one day I had got one of my pistols out and I was just sitting on the floor. And I just said, I don't want to be here anymore. You know what I'm saying? And luckily, that day, my friend Truman came to the house. And I had my door locked. He was knocking. I didn't even answer it. And he walked in, and I was sitting up against my wall, Sterling, in my living room. This is my old house, not the new house that I live in now. And I had the gun in my lap, and he just walked in and looked at me, and he was like, "What's wrong?" And I remember looking up at him, and I was just like, "Dude," I said, "I have no purpose of being here." I said, "I'm just existing." I said, my son don't want to be around me, and it was one of the times where I just got out of a relationship. So, y'all think I be joking a lot of times when I talk about losing everything, but the stuff really affects me because even though I made mistakes in a relationship, I always felt like I want to give it all, you know what I'm saying? Because I watched my grandfather and I wanted to emulate him so bad. So I always tried to be like a household man where I'm like, I'm taking care of everything. So in conjunction with a losing loss, and then like my son not really want to deal with me. And then now I'm out of the military. I just felt like I had no purpose. I was existing. So I was just like, man, I should just blow the back of my head off. But my friend Truman, he walked in the house and saw me with the gun. He walked up to me and asked me what was going on. And I'm like, I never cry. If anybody that knows me, I never cry. I'm like crying and blah, and all this stuff. And I was just like, dude, I said, I don't want to be here no more. I'm done. And then he sat down and talked to me and he took the gun from me. He reiterated to me importance and, about my son and stuff like that. And the bad thing about it though, different with me, Sterling, I feel bad because I always used to say, man, depression, man, suck that suck that stuff and drive on. Depression, man, that's some bull crap. That ain't real. That ain't, I could be like, man, y'all are weak. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Be about your business. Don't be doing that. But then it hit me one time and I said, you know what? I will never say that again because all it takes is that one time to hit you. And I have never talked about this story ever because I've never been in that place again, but I will never knock nobody that has been into that place because it hit me. And probably if he wouldn't have came over, that's why I say I believe in God. I believe in God have purpose for all of us, because if he would have waited a few longer, I don't know what I would have done. And I think about that all the time. So Sterling, I have never talked about that. My friend Truman has never brought it up. I just never really wanted to talk about it. But now I'm so confident in my manhood and I don't care about what nobody thinks about me. I don't care about being vulnerable, because if you're here to exploit my vulnerabilities, then you don't need to be in my life anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't feel bad about it. And also if it can let me know, if somebody could be like, man, I thought Cam was this hardcore dude, but if it can happen to him and he can sit up there and talk about it, maybe it may give somebody else the strength to be like, you know what, man, I can't talk about this. So that's why I don't mind saying it on a public forum where people can hear it, because I don't mind being vulnerable.
Yes. Hey, the phone lines are pinned. If y'all want to call in. You can remain anonymous. You could just say, hey, I'm just here and I want to share some of my story. I guess I've never been suicidal, and I just want to thank my creator for just having my mind to be open. But as far as getting into depressions, even as it is today, my mind works 3 times harder than most people's minds, Like I'll be sitting right here now thinking about the podcast, but then I'm also thinking about my personal training. Then I'm thinking about work. Then I'm thinking about all this stuff, and it actually could collide with you, which will send you into well, for me, it'll send me into like a deep. You say it's not depression because you don't want to admit that you're going through something.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just a little stressed out at the moment. I'm just this at the moment, or whatever the case may be. So you say, oh, I'm not depressed. I'm just going through something. But if you don't have an outlet, someone to talk to, it could take a toll on you, because you will sit up in your room and it feels like the walls are closing in on you. You know, I know I had several friends that were suicidal, and I'm glad that they're still here, you know, because they haven't went that, they found the strength to overcome. But just sometimes we're desperate, you know what I'm saying? We're desperate, and what is our way out? I want to ask you something, Sterling, and it's because we were actually coming from, yes, Jasmine, yes, depression comes in many forms. Functional depression is serious, and that, I think I done suffered from that a whole lot. If you have ever been into and the call-in number is there, you guys, if you've ever read the DSM-5, I don't know if a lot of people read that, but it lists all of the stages of depression and all mental health, like all the diagnoses in there. So if you ever just really scan through it to kind of get a better outlook, it'll actually tell you what functional depression is. But you get up and you go to work every day, and mostly us leaders in the military, that's what we do. We get up, we take our butt to work, we tell the soldiers, we give them the safety briefing on Thursdays before a 4-day holiday or on a Friday, and we're functioning, but we're depressed as well. Sterling, we were having a conversation, and you guys tune in to Mr. TMI tomorrow. I looked at his topic briefly. He is going to be talking about DJ Twitch. So y'all tune in, Bold and Driven, subscribe, like, share. People say, I have heard people say, and I have been guilty of saying it myself, oh, they killed themselves. They're selfish. They have family, they have kids. They should have thought about their kids first. What is your take on that when we as a community say this person was selfish for that, because they have all this going on, all these great qualities going on in their life, but they went this road? What is your take on that, Cyril?
Far as people saying that they were selfish, you know, at the end of the day, everybody had an opinion to how they feel and stuff like that. But until you are in those shoes, or until you feel that pain, until you feel like you can't go no more, you really can't speak on it, you know, because like I said, in my situation, I had my son in the next bedroom, that not even 10 feet away from me. He right there sleeping in his bed. So, you know, you can't sit up here and say somebody is selfish because they took their lives. No, because they could have been dealing with this their whole life, and all of a sudden this trigger. And I look back at it, you know, I've been on 4 deployments, 48 months of combat time. And it's crazy how I can go down range, go to Iraq, and fight for a country and not have these feelings at all.
Yes.
I don't have these feelings of depression. I don't have these feelings of, you know, desperate. I don't have these feelings of wanting to kill myself. I'm focused on a mission. You know, but when I come back stateside, it's like, man, I'm only good for this, this, and that. You know, and then when you by yourself, all those things come on top of you and all those things on your shoulder. And I mean, you know, like I said, I still battle with depression to this day. And I sometimes sit in this house and it be middle of the night. I sit up in my bed, but like, man, like 20 plus years of my military is gone just like that. It's done.
Yeah.
I'm just a piece of paper. I'm just a number. So when I hear people say selfish, only one that can judge me, the man above. That's it. Nobody else can judge me. But, you know, people got to get out of that mindset of trying to judge other people, because when you're in those shoes, all it takes is a quick second. And like Cam said, you know, I never knew about what Cam was going through. Cam never knew about what I was going through. And a lot of people look at me and Cam like, oh, those are some strong brothers right there, you know. because of the way we carry ourselves. So I will say, just keep your comments to yourself
Hi, Natasha.
and be mindful of how people feel.
And and I want to say, I always say y'all are strong brothers. I brag on y'all all the time. And unless you have personal conversations with people, you never know what they're actually going through. And more than most of the men that I do surround myself around, if I call you my brother, my fam, or whoever, they're strong men. I will say I have been open enough for a lot of those strong men to open up to me about stuff that they probably can't open up to nobody else about, and it's been a challenge. And I actually have one friend, he talks to me a lot, and then he wants to talk to me about a stressor so he can know how to, bring it to his wife, like, hey, this is what's going on. And it seems odd because we talk about work husband, work wives, and all that. But in the military, you develop bonds with people to your left and your right. And that, I don't know why I would talk to Sterling probably before I talk to something. And not because it's anything sexual going on. It's just that you understand where I'm coming from, especially if your spouse is not serving or has not served. Cam, what do you think about the word, hey, they're selfish, he's selfish, she's selfish, they should have thought about their kids? What do you think about that as far as when we do say that when someone has either attempted suicide, committed suicide, have been institutionalized because they can't handle the stressors of day-to-day life?
Well, Sterling almost took all the words out of my mouth in reference to, like I told you back in the day when I was in the military, I thought I was hard as wood, pepper lips. You know what I'm saying? You could not break me. Outside of swimming, it wasn't nothing you can tell me I couldn't do. Yeah. So the way and I always had that maximum range of excuse is 0 meter mentality. I was told that when I first joined the military, and it just stuck with me. And but until you have that stuff has hit you, I don't feel you can even comment on it. Yeah. Because some people, I ain't gonna lie, some people go through their life, they've had bad situations, and some people are. I used to use the term of saying, man, you got to be more mentally tough than this. You got to be more mentally strong. But I'm telling you, what I learned is we all have a breaking point. And I don't care how, I'm telling you, it ain't too many people out here in this world, probably outside of Dave and Goggins and some Navy SEALs, that thought that they were more tough than I was. Yeah. But I see it even hit me too. And sometimes I never take myself back to that place because I have trained myself and incorporated myself with these tools to reiterate to myself that I am enough. And there is another way outside of this. It's never that bad, but I had to go through that situation. And luckily God made it where there was an avenue that I didn't go through it, but now I know how to protect myself from it because I know it can happen, but I have armed myself with the tools to know that I am enough. There is all, and what I tell myself is there's always a way.
Yeah.
And it's a mentality that I have.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, can we put up Uncle Junior's comment? And viewers, comments are coming in slow. Powers of the universe, probably because we gotta actually be able to talk. So and basically Drills told us if we wanted to delete ourselves to do it tomorrow when he's not on shift. That is like, you've heard that so many times. If you're gonna do something, do it tomorrow. But what if that person say, oh, Drill Sergeant Conquest ain't on shift. I'm gonna do it because he told me to do it. You know what I'm saying? He was a drill. He told me to do it. So now I'm just gonna go ahead on and do it. And then in his note, he say, I did this because he told me to do it tomorrow. Because you know what I'm saying? And then it weighs heavily on you as a people, as a society, and what we actually, now we judging Sterling because we didn't believe that Joe was gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? I think, oh, you just weak. You're not mentally there. You're not mentally tough. And a lot of times, I think we allow people to actually control our feelings as well. I like Jasmine comment. It just popped up. We also allow people to feel their feelings. We can't knock the next because how they handle day to day life. That is so true. Hey, as you all know, the suicide line text line is pinned up there. The phone lines are open. You can call in if you want to.
So I do have something to say though.
Mhm.
So we talk about the 4Ds, and it goes for me. The 4Ds is similar to how I am as a father. The first D we talk about damage. I never had my father around, so that was a damaging experience for me growing up as a young black man. Depressed, learning how to be a man without him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like a pressing point for me in my life. And then desperate is trying to be better for my kids as a father.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
then determined for me is continue to have that role as a major father figure in my boy's life. So
Yeah.
so the 4Ds does play a huge part in certain situations. For me as a father, those 4Ds play a
Um.
huge part for me.
Yeah. And when we're damaged, can we really heal from that until we actually heal ourselves from the damage and the trauma that we actually had? And you know what I'm saying, growing up, you have to really come to terms with this is what really affects me. These are my triggers. So you have to come to terms with that. You know, and that's just me talking. You know what I'm saying? Because if you keep on living in the past, and Sterling says it all the time, being a slave to your past, you know, it
You got
you
a
keep
caller.
on reverting back. And we have a caller on the line. Hello,
Hi, it's
caller.
me, Jasmine.
Hey, Jazz, how you doing, Jazz? We're gonna work on some stuff for you, but we're gonna talk about it later. What's up, Jazz?
Yes, I just want to kind of call in and give my 2 cents a little bit. First off, I just want to thank Cam and Sterling for just being so open and direct. It takes a strong person to even get to that point to share their story. But I do know once you share that story, how many people that you can actually touch. You know, we don't know who's watching. We don't know who that just helped at that very moment not make that decision. So I think it's very important to get to a place where you're actually able to share your story without having guilt or shame. And so I kind of wanted to piggyback off the selfish thing that you guys were kind of touching on when we say, you know, people are selfish. I've been in therapy going on 4 years. I've battled with depression. And when I say very bad anxiety, I mean very bad anxiety. So I think it's just important how we handle people. You know, we don't know what stories people are going through. Like Cam said, you look at Cam, he's so debonair. He's just this cool, smooth guy. And for him to say that, who would have thought it, you know? But we have to learn how to handle people regardless of what it looks like on the outside. We have to take in consideration that, hey, life is hard. If you know it's hard for yourself, why would you not think it's not hard for the next man? So we have to really take in consideration those things. So I just want to call in. I'm here, but I just want to commend
Jazz,
for
before you try to jump off, hey, as y'all know, Jazz is actually my blood sister. So I'm gonna share something. Me and Jazz a few years ago had a knockdown argument, y'all. And at the end of the argument, it was more like, I'm going through this, I'm going through this, I'm going through this. Forget you, forget you. And then not until months later, we're talking about months. This ain't the next day we're calling each other and saying, hey, months later, it took me to realize I'm going through all of this, but sometimes we think what we're going through is more important than what the next person is going through. Oh, you're just going through this little bit of stuff, but look at what I'm going through. And you know, the healing came for us most definitely when we actually had a chance to sit down and talk and say, hey, I was going through a lot of stuff. I said some things that I shouldn't have said. And what Cam always say, listen to, actually you want to understand what they're saying, not to respond. So it was really bad, y'all. Like really bad. And then the crazy thing is we've never been in that space, but when she said we're suffering silence, we are blood sisters. We grew up in the house together. You don't even feel comfortable enough to call your sister and say, this is what I'm going through. You know, and a lot of times I will say for me, it's called being judged because for some reason, all my siblings think I'm like the strong person, but that's my persona. But you would never know I'm weak. Why do they think that? Because I'm not open enough to say, hey, y'all, I'm going through some stuff as well. You know, so Jazz, thank you for calling in. I see you in the chat. As always, you guys, the suicide text number is there. Veterans, we have the crisis lifeline strolling across the screen. So if you're feeling vulnerable, you're feeling in a place of depression or anything, you got Military One Source. You have a lot of avenues out here for for everyone. And thank you, Jazz, for calling in. Keep those comments coming in, and I'm watching your texts and chats and stuff over here. Hey,
all right.
Sterling, did you have a question for
But
Jazz?
another thing, Kenya, if you don't mind if I interject, another thing helped me, and instead of being selfish, I think if we learn to be selfless and go out and realize, and one thing that helps me is like helping others. Because sometimes we get so ingested in what we have going on in our lives. And even though we just think what we got going on is the worst case scenario, but it's always somebody out there doing worse. And sometimes if we go out and just take ourselves out of the equation for a while, go out and look at who we can help. Sometime in return, that helps us heal by going out and getting out of ourselves and investing in somebody else that's going through their trauma. And in turn, it helps you heal yours, because that's what helped for me. I started volunteering at food pantries. And I remember one time I was going through this thing, and I went downtown Killeen, and I set up with some guys, and we just made sandwiches and fruits and stuff like that, and set up across the street from the water company. It was a long time ago, but at that time I was going through something bad, but I was so invested in those people in the community that during that time I didn't even think about what was going on with me. So that's one thing also that we can incorporate in our lives, that investing in other people when you even going through what you're going through.
Let me ask you this, and then Sterling, I'm gonna get with you. Do you think that, of course, I'm big on community service. I'm big on mental health. Of course, y'all know I'm like an advocate for incarceration, mass incarceration. We got to most definitely change that. But do you think when we go out into the community and we're helping in certain situations, do you think that we are putting a Band-Aid on what we're going through because we don't want to face them? Or do you feel like that is, or were you saying that's an outlet for you to say, okay, I may have it bad over here, but let me look at what somebody else is going through and see where I could be an inspiration to help me heal?
That's you, Cam, or that's me?
Oh,
That's
who's
Cam.
I thought you was talking to Stern.
That's you, Cam.
I'm sorry, y'all. This topic today is kind of like, I ain't gonna lie, and most of the time I'm telling you that I'm not a person getting my feelings at all. But today,
we're gonna come back to you. We're gonna come back to you. We're gonna let you. What you think, Sterling?
I will say I'm probably the only one that's on this podcast. That's the only child. So I didn't have siblings.
I did not know you were only child.
I'm the only child. So when I hear people, say, I had talked to my siblings about things, go through things with my siblings, I feel like that was kind of like a trigger for me. It was hard for me to speak to people because growing up, it was just myself. So I always had to deal with issues by myself. You know what I'm saying? But I do agree, with Cam when they talk about going out there helping others that's not less fortunate than we are. And I will say, just being in that fraternity I am now, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, it made me a better man. It made me, more outspoken. It made me be in the community more and give back. And I feel like that did help me out with a lot of my issues because I was around brothers that had the same purpose and same goal to get to the community. So I don't think it's just a Band-Aid. I do think it helps people. when you are going through things to go out there and help others out. So I do agree with Cam about that. But yeah, it's kind of hard being the only child and growing up. You know what I'm saying? You don't have those outlets like you would if you had siblings.
Yeah, and and we always mess with only child. Oh, you got the only child syndrome. You this, you that, and then you don't really even embrace them, and you feel like, oh, they acting funny, but they didn't grow up in a house where it's 5 people in one room sleeping in one bed, head to toe. And for me, being just, I guess I get overwhelmed, which will make me, and I kind of said this in the beginning, which will make me depressed, trying to do too much, trying to do too much and not facing my problems. And that's why I asked that question, because I could get so busy and engulfed in things that I want to do, other people, community service. And to me, it was putting on a Band-Aid for me, because I'm not dealing with my personal issue, because I have to be that person that, oh, LaKenya is strong. She doesn't need no help. And a lot of times, I'm going to tell y'all this, and I mean this. The strong people, we need help too. And a lot of stuff get put on if you have a strong personality, strong persona, if you've always been a leader. The way I kind of been like this my whole life, you know what I'm saying? Kind of bossy and stuff like that. So people assume that I do not need the help, the love, the anything that they give other people. And we'll talk about parents in that aspect, because I used to always tell my mom, you like the other kids more than you like me. And finally, and mind you, we're talking about, I'm 39 now. With growth comes maturity, and you can understand. And I will tell you, anybody that's having problems with their mother, father, they did what they thought was best at the time. And if they struggle with any kind of addiction, especially if you was born in the 80s and stuff like that, they ain't know no better. Like for real. And then, and if you look at it today, they still have those issues, because if you have young parents that suffer from addiction at the age of 17, 18, 19, they brain, some is discombobulated in their brain. So I say that to say, they did what they thought was best at the time. And you do have to sometimes still set boundaries for those parents, with respect and love. But my mom finally told me, well, I thought you had it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you were always the most mature one, the most this, the most that, and I am not the oldest. Tia, if you are watching, we talked about this. She has been stepping into her role as the big sister, but a lot of people be like, are you the oldest? It's really Tia, but that's just how how my personality is. And we got to stop giving people a lot of credit, and then the weight of the world is on their shoulder.
Yeah.
So now I still got to be strong, even though I'm really weak and vulnerable. I missed the comment. Can you put Anton comment back up? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Cam, you ready? You back with us?
Yeah, I'm back.
You back with us? I like the definition that Sterling gave about the 4 Ds. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, determined. That's what originally we had came up with 3. But how do we get to the point where we're determined to live? We determined to make changes in our life. We determined to make whatever sacrifices that we need to make for our children to actually be better. Because if you have kids, your kids can see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? They could feel the energy and the thickness in the room when you step into the room. Hey, you guys, we have like 15 more minutes. So the phone lines are open. You can call in. If you're on here and you're listening, or you watching 988, that's the suicide text line. Please go on there if you just need somebody to talk to. And from what I'm told, they'll even just listen, hold the phone with you while you're going through whatever crisis that you're going through. Veterans Crisis Line. If you're still serving, you have Military One Source. And if you retire, I believe I read that you can still utilize Military One Source up to 1 year after you get out. And if you have any VA benefits, you have the VA. There is a lot of different avenues out here, the Vet Center and all those different avenues. But just being determined and being able and willing to actually push through and see what's on the other side. Like I said, I've never experienced a suicidal episode, and I have been guilty of I can't believe they did this. I can't believe, and then but as you get older, you say, what were they really going through in that house at that very moment that they said it's the end? And today, today is it, and you can't reverse the hands of time. Cam, what's up, Sterling?
So not cut you off, Cam.
Yeah,
But
you good.
I feel like this conversation, because when me and Cam met, we met through, a mutual soror. And it was just instant bond between me and Cam from day one. And I feel like this conversation, like knowing my brother, like when I say Cam, my brother, is not just on no fraternity type of stuff. That's my bro.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
That's sure.
And like knowing that he been through the same stuff that I've been through, I think that's gonna make our bond even stronger. You know what I'm saying? It's like we know that we've been through it, so we can help other people out. And that may be something for us in the future to come together and put something together. Like, hey, we can do some type of big brother, big father type of thing.
Yeah.
Get out there and help the community. But I will say, Cam, straight 100, man. You my bro. You my bro.
And I feel the same way, bro. 100%. I'm talking for real, for real. We down like 4 flat tires on a Yugo. You know what I'm saying? And I mean that for real. 100. Outside of fraternity and anything else.
And listeners, viewers, whatever you're doing, please like and share. And mainly share. We have young men that are struggling out there. And if I don't even think I really say share that much on here, I might say subscribe or whatever. But young men need to see 2 successful Black men that are actually able to talk about their struggles and look at where they're at now. You know what I'm saying? Follow them on IG. And I say that I don't even tell people to follow people because it's positivity whenever. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a picture, like, hey, grand rise and have a blessed day, stay blessed today. It's positivity. It's not all that hood rat, booty shaking, posting pictures of women half naked. You're not going to see that on these guys' social media, and I encourage y'all and implore y'all to make sure y'all, this is something that we need to be sharing with our young men. And not to leave the women out, but women, we're more prone to actually talk to each other sometimes. And when you have siblings, you don't want to be judged. So you don't really talk to your siblings. Your friends probably know way more about you than your siblings do because you don't want that conversation to come up at the dinner table. You don't want that to actually, hi, Mr. George Jackson. You don't want that to be thrown up in your face. So do y'all think when we have any one of y'all lost trust in someone because you were vulnerable to them and then later on you went through this or you did that or this is that and other? Have any of y'all went through that where it could cause you or has caused you to shut down?
So I told Candace before, I give everybody an opportunity when I first meet you. I don't judge until you show me different. But I have, spoke on certain things to people and they have crossed me the wrong way or they have lost my trust. But as you seen, Kenya, on my post last week, I'm ending the year with no beef, no issues with anybody. I haven't spoke to in years. I just want to let you know I love you. I don't want no issues, but it do put you in a space that you don't want to be in when people cross you or you vulnerable with your feelings or vulnerable with certain situations. So I'll say it again. I'm ending the year off with I don't want no beef with nobody. I love everybody. I'm gonna continue to pray for everybody. If you don't want to speak to me no more, I'm cool with that. But as long as I know I got out of my chest and got in my heart that I care for you, that's all me. That's it.
Yeah. And like what Uncle Junior said, you need to talk to someone with the proper skills and license to help. Of course, our comments are coming in late, early, but we have a rolling string down there, for, if you need that help, if you need that, that outlook, someone that is not going to judge you later on. Cam, what do you think about that being crossed by someone or, just after you show that you're vulnerable, then they use that against you later on. They play on your weakness. What do you think about that?
Well, you get one time to do that with me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's already a challenge to be, especially when you're an alpha male. And like I said, when you know, and I won't sit around and say I'm an alpha, because I feel like if you got to say yourself, if you got to say you the alpha, you're not no alpha. You know what I'm saying? Alphas know when they're the alphas, and it's already hard enough to like just to say, man, I don't want to talk about this and come down and you, because you got the fear of being called weak or being thrown back up in your face. I can't believe you complaining about that. So if it's done to me, which I did have it done to me, and I had a case where I was dating a girl, and she had specific things she knew about me, because first of all, she had access to certain, and I already told y'all a story, she had access to certain information about me, which she knew things about me. And then when we got deep into this relationship, she would throw up those things, and I ain't gonna say, the big PTSD word, you know what I'm saying? You crazy, you ain't taking your medication, blah blah blah. And come on,
Oh
now,
my goodness.
and I ain't gonna lie. So now I was expected to have resolve, and the first thing I want to do is like clench up my fist and and walk the dog with her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then I had to realize that, first of all, I don't touch women. You know what I'm saying? People got the right to say what they want to say, and it's about what I respond to, not how, it ain't about what people say. It's about what I respond to. So it really required a real gut check on me to be like, to have that resolve. But it made me say, I will never tell you nothing again to that level. So,
and then how can you be in a relationship with someone like that? And when I say a relationship, even a friendship, if you're supposed to be my friend, I should be able to share certain things with you. If we're in a relationship, I should be able to talk to you before I go and talk to my best friend. But
right, and it's just relationship specific, also friendship.
But I'm saying, like, how can we even continue to do that to ourselves as a people? Because now it's like, I don't even trust you. But then when you invested in that relationship, whichever way it is, how do you get out of it? And that's the biggest thing that I hear when you interact with people who have PTSD. The first thing we will say, and I say we because so we won't single out any particular group. Did you take your medicine today? Y'all, that medicine don't be working. I'm just gonna go and let y'all know right now.
Right, you feeling like a robot?
Yeah, I've been taking meds for the last 3 to 4 years. It's just something to calm you and get you through a couple hours, but it doesn't fix the issue. You know what I'm saying?
And it doesn't fix the issue. And back to one of Uncle Junior comments, he said you got to talk to somebody. And some people may feel, and I think talking to a professional person where it actually stays there, it's good. But you do have to find the right counselor, therapist, or whatever to talk to. Because I had one lady I talked to, you guys. I was in Georgia. Not gonna say her name. I would probably recommend her to other people, but she used to always be like, "So what you think the problem is?" I really wanted to say, B, if I knew what the problem was, I wouldn't be on this telehealth thing with you. You know what I'm saying? And then you give me these homework assignments. I don't feel like doing a homework assignment because I don't want to relive this stuff. But then you got an attitude because I ain't do the homework assignment. But I don't feel like doing it because
those same people that are giving you that counsel have the same problems.
Yeah, and it's crazy you say that, Ken, because when I was in Korea, I had a doctor, and I go in there, and the first thing he said to me is, "What medicine do you want?" Like how I'm supposed to know what I need? I'm just coming here to talk to you. That's it. You ready to prescribe me something just to take care of an issue? Like, no.
Yeah. But that's big in the military. They just want to give you some medicine to patch you up. And then when you do get a chance to go see someone, Korea was horrible for this last year. It was no mental health providers nowhere out there. And number one, you've taken a lot of people from their family because it is a dependent restricted tour. So a lot of times you can't take your family with you. So it's just crazy how they do. I don't know what medicine I won't need or anything like that. Because the last medicine you gave me, I ain't like homework at school. So you know I ain't finna like it when I'm up here trying to talk to somebody.
And I think also during COVID-19, I think that put a lot of people in a bad space as well. Because I left Bragg 2020 January, and I had to sit in a hotel for 90 days. And I was just sitting there till I had orders to go to Korea. So just imagine, you know, if I was a weak-minded person, or I had that had that strength, I could have, you know, had those same thoughts again by just sitting in a hotel for 90 days. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yes. Hey, but yeah, look, thank you for showing the authentic ears on today. You know, we get on here, we clown, we act the fool, we talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. You know what I'm saying? I've been working, I ain't dropped no F-bombs. Cam, I ain't even cuss. I probably cussed one time, Cam. Maybe. Look, I ain't even cuss today. But you know, we do got something. We got some no cap with Cam. Cam, do
some no cap with Cam. Hey, today for the no cap, you know. Yeah, today I just want to reiterate to everybody that that you're enough, but we need to learn to use our pain and not let the pain use us. So, producer, can you run that for me, please?
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
I want to make sure everybody knows that they're enough. No matter what they go through, what they've been through, that they are enough. The number one cause for anything is people not knowing that they're enough. They feel like they're not enough. Just because you have some bad chapters doesn't mean your story can't end well. And every story has bad chapters. It's about you finding the strength to turn the page. And even with my faith, I believe this, that God will allow you to go through places you don't understand just to bring you to the place where he needs you to be. And so hold on to that in your struggle, in your journey, in your pain, and then turn your pain from your worst enemy to your best friend. Do that. Use pain, don't let it use you.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to reiterate to everybody, and I don't need to go on and elaborate anymore. I just want to let everybody know, no matter what you're going through, that we're enough, and no situation is that bad, and there's always a way. Find somebody, talk to somebody, accountability partners, you know, somebody that you can really, really trust. But there's always a way, even when we think that taking our lives is a possible option. I just think that when we would look at it, it's always a way. There's always a way. And I'll just end by saying that that's no cap.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening?
Yes, that was definitely no cap. Sometimes we feel like we're not enough. You know, we feel like, you know, we can't go any farther. We can't go on in life. Even if we do have children or people that depend on us. And, you know, we still got some comments coming in. COVID spiked the suicide rate because we was alone, you know. Closing out, Sterling.
Uncle Junior, you was real good, man.
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, the holidays coming up. A lot of us are by ourselves. For the ones that with your family, your significant other, your kids, enjoy every moment. Like I said, in the year,
I am enough. I don't mean to cut you off. That is her. That's her name on here. Okay.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
Just go ahead, end the year off right. Pray for your sisters and brothers. And I love everybody. I love y'all. I can't wait to see y'all in person. And we're gonna turn up for 2023, man. That's about it.
Yes. Hey, look, we most definitely turn it up. As always, like, subscribe, share. Tomorrow, Mr. TMI is gonna be talking some good stuff. So if you haven't subscribed to Bold and Driven, please do so. You know, come on over to the community. If you're looking for a platform and you're looking for some great producers that bring all of this together, please come on over. Shout out to Natasha. She is always she come through for us, y'all, all the time. Like, I was just like, hey, can you put the suicide, just have it penned somewhere, you know, and then when we get on here and we see the production of it, we actually able to see it, and that way our viewers could see it. This is serious. Yes, we authentic. We come in here, we talk real, raw, and relevant, but this most definitely is something that needs to be talked about. And around the holidays, you have a lot of love and support as well. After the holidays, when stuff start dying down, we forget to check on the people whose house we went over to eat Christmas dinner with. We forget to check on the people who hosted Thanksgiving dinner. So let's continue to check on our friends. Let's continue to show love. We love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back here next week. Tune in, subscribe, like Authentic Ears, holla at us. Jazz, love you. Terry, love you. Terry, you ain't talking. We actually had the phone fixed. This we gonna do better in 23. We gonna do better in 23. I am gonna tell y'all something. If y'all got some beef with anybody on Authentic Ears, right? And you haven't addressed it, don't come in 2023 talking about what somebody did or said to you last year. We leave the past in the past. Let's get it. Hey, love you guys. Holla at your girl. And we're gonna click.
Real raw, relevant, that's just it, yeah. I've been about 30 days since I was legit. Real raw, relevant, that's just it, yeah. I've been about 30 days since I was